Okay, it's 7 o'clock. I'm going to call the meeting to order and ask that we pledge allegiance to the flag. Go ahead, Tom.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Very nice. Roll call. Go first.
Malik Hammond, here.
Stephanie Halter, here.
Tom McLaughlin.
David Kent.
Peter, Julia.
Thank you. We have, oh my God, election of officers.
What?
That's a holdover from a previous, so that would be
Tom's here.
apologies for having that on.
We're gonna nominate Tom.
Get out of here. I don't want
Yeah.
to be How did that come forward from March? Because you haven't had another
Yeah,
meeting?
no, that's supposed to be, that must have been a copying error from an older agenda.
oh,
So
good, okay.
It's
Okay.
election of
That's it.
officers is the first meeting after town meeting.
Sure,
and it-
that's
We can
fine.
cross off number 3.
Okay.
Review of the previous meeting minutes, and they were available up here on the,
Yep. I mean, it's been such a long time, it's hard to recollect, but it looks accurate. Did anybody see anything?
I only have one minor correction. At the bottom of the second page, I think it should say Stephanie Halter moved. Other than that, I didn't have any problem with it. Anybody else got anything? I think we can do better than just calling you Halter.
It's okay, I'm used to it. I am a college professor. That's all the kids call me.
Any additions or deletions in addition to what I've suggested? Have a motion?
Motion to accept the minutes with that one amendment, or one edit.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. You're not gonna-
I'd abstain. I wasn't there.
Okay, very good. The minutes are approved. We have an application and public hearing for special exception for Mountain Village Charter School under section 213-033, 31, excuse me. It is an application for Mountain Village Charter School for a special exception in accordance with the zoning ordinance, section 304, to establish an educational use in the industrial commercial development zoning district. Proposal to construct a charter school for grades 1 to 8, proposed to serve up to 120 students. And for the record, I would simply put forward that this was the subject of a previous application and then a previous extension of the previous application, both of which were approved in the past. Is anybody here to speak in favor of the application?
Well, I can answer any questions you have.
If you'll come forward and stand there and.
Frank McLean from Mountain Village Charter School. I was the original applicant, so I've been through the process a few times.
But not everybody was present.
Correct.
At those previous hearings, so I'd like you
Yep.
to go through your process, if you will. What is it you propose to do?
So there's limited zoning in the town of Plymouth that is actually zoned for educational facilities. This is land that we purchased that fits our dynamic school to a T. And we're going to build a school there that's essentially 3 large garages, as simple, as cost-effective as possible, just rectangles on slabs, and move from where we're currently operating, which is over at the 9th State Complex, right around the Rotary. We're right there already, so it's very convenient, not much of a change for any of our students and parents that are dropping off the students at the new location. So, I mean, if you've driven down Tenny Mountain, you've seen where we had cleared that, we've stumped it, and that's where we're at right now. We're trying to work with the bank to get our funding.
So if you could explain how the specific site is appropriate for this use?
Outside of that, it's a buildable lot that will take I guess I don't know what you mean, that beyond.
Why is this a good place to put this particular use? Why is this a good place to have the school?
Well, they already said that it's in the zone, it's zoned for it, and I guess I didn't know that there weren't many places that were educationally zoned.
I'm just trying to get through the
I
criteria.
know,
Tom.
I'm sorry, I was just, I think you looked a little confused there.
Why is it, yeah, that would be one, because there is no other places in town that allow educational, has any room for development. In our instance, we're an outdoor-based school, so it's on, I think it's roughly 35 or 40 acres that's down there. So that's all of our programming will be perfect for that. It's on a state-maintained road. It's level up top. It's going to require some grading, but we can fit the building on. We spent
Is part of this wetland?
nothing in where we're developing. Yeah, there's floodplain that's down, closer to the Baker.
Can you explain how this use, if developed, will not adversely affect the character of the area in which it's intended to be put?
I think that it's no different than the building of the vape shop or, development that's currently on Tenny Mountain. If anything, it'll be more aesthetically pleasing because it'll be taken into account, the impact on our students, that we want it to be a very thoughtful learning environment.
Is one of the things you've submitted actually show a picture of what you propose?
And I don't know. I mean, there should be, there's a bunch.
Yes.
The answer is yes.
Yeah. I don't know what you have in front of you.
Yeah, I got it. Right there, Tom.
Yeah,
There should be a site plan there for sure, and I just don't know if it has the
Okay.
the
thank you.
sectionals.
Perhaps you can explain to us how there be no nuisance or serious hazard created, vehicles or the like.
Yeah, so we've worked with DOT. They had already approved our driveway permit, so they didn't see any issue with any kind of traffic flow issues there. We are currently already on Route 25. We currently are already on Route 25 in Plymouth, so it's just moving it from one location to another.
What town services will be involved, sir?
We are trying to work with water, sewer, not water, sewer only.
Okay.
Yep, that would be the only town service. I mean, other than fire department, which is currently, we're already,
Because your previous applications, you wouldn't use either water or sewer.
I believe at the time we had a septic design, and it was the contingency for that site plan approval was finalization of the building. Once we got our final specs set up for the building, and we saw that the size of the building that we were proposing was going to would be considered to require sprinkling. So we went to the 3 separate buildings. And when we did that, it changed the location of those 3 buildings to where the septic design system was going to be. We can still, if we end up needing to, design a septic system for this. The engineering company has assured us that, this isn't like trying to build on an island or something. But we have been working with Jason at Water and Sewer to develop a plan. We just are waiting to file the application because it was, I think, Joseph could probably remember, what was it? It was like $10,000, I think, in the permit fees just to apply for the septic system, for the sewerage connection.
The old Sears Roebuck building, which has become the little school,
Little Antlers, yeah.
does that have public sewer?
It does, and they changed the code or the policy of the state, the town. The water sewer department changed. That's a force pressure main. So they're on a downslope, or they're on the pressurized main, meaning that the pump station pumps up past there. They have check valves built into the septic disposal side of things. They no longer allow that connection. So we will have to go across an abutter's property. We've already spoken with him, and he's in agreement. We haven't had it notarized or attorneyized at this point, but we've worked with Jason. We've worked with the abutter. And we'll go across his property to a point where where it becomes gravity. The pipes become, I don't even know what you call it, gravity fed, but it's not really. It's just going downhill from here.
Having led the applicant through the criteria, I'll open the board up for any questions that they may have of the applicant.
sure. What's your position there? You gonna be an administrator?
I was board president for a little while. I was treasurer for 4, 5, 6 years, and I've been on the construction committee since I've submitted the first stuff.
Okay. And I see these were all kind of look-down views of it. What's the building? You got one that's an elevation of it, but what's the exterior gonna be looking like?
What is
Have any idea?
what is made out of?
Yeah, will it be, clapboards or panels or?
You said a barn.
Yeah, so that is dictated by the amount of money that we have to throw at the siding when we get to that side. So it may be metal, it may be clapboards. I would love to have a facade where it's like some steel that comes down to a little break with some stonework around the front, just so that you're looking at it. But I wouldn't paint myself into that corner here saying that that's what's going to happen, because we're not funded like a traditional municipality-run school. So we have to reverse engineer what we can build by what we can get from money from the bank.
And you've already got existing students going up to Ninth State.
Yes, yeah. I think current enrollment is 112, 108, somewhere in there. Yeah,
Oh, really?
yeah.
This is, you said 120 in your application here.
Yeah, it's 120. I don't know why it keeps going back to that. We're chartered for, I think, up to 150, but I think it's 120 is what we have decided is what we can afford to educate at this point, unless they change some of the funding calculations that was like all of a sudden, hey, we're paying teachers everything that they're worth, and, but I doubt that we would ever get to 150.
Would the facility contain 150 students?
It could. It's designed to be able to.
Do you, at your current facility, do you have any walkers that come to school?
No
Walk-
walkers.
No, everybody gets dropped off?
Yeah.
And you expect that to continue in your new location?
Yes, yeah.
I hope so.
And you gotta pave the parking lot this time.
Don't know yet. Again, that's going to be dictated by the amount of money that we have available. If anything, it would probably be bluestone, something that doesn't create a lot of dust, trucked in from Vermont.
What are we doing, Joseph? Are we just extending this another year or something like that?
No, the whole new application.
It's a whole new, because those other extensions
It's
expired?
all run out.
Oh, I see, okay.
Yeah, my understanding was that we're only allowed one extension past, and this all happened during COVID.
Malik, you got-
Joseph, or
got
could
it?
you just clarify and confirm? The special exception is strictly in regards to the placement of a educational facility in the, both the agricultural and the industrial zone. It nothing to do with the actual building plans or any of that. It's purely that we're allowing a educational facility in those districts, correct?
Yeah, broadly speaking, the special exception is for the use of an educational facility. They are before the planning board for site plan review concurrently, and the board began that review in December and continued that through January. So the board will continue that review on January 18th. That is the planning board.
I'll also point out, because of the previous question, if it winds up being tar or bluestone is really an issue for the planning board to determine in terms of impervious.
Correct, and all the impact and differences of the plan between the one building, the two building, the pavement, the non-pavement, the sewer versus the septic, et cetera, so,
Ours is a use issue.
yeah. Just wanted to clarify that.
Okay. Other question, you got one?
I do. Where is the zoning line?
Good question.
You know?
No. Joseph probably does.
Parcel's 36 acres, I'm guessing goes probably down to the river or close?
Yeah, it's roughly.
It wraps around little antlers.
Yeah,
Does, it's a
the
horseshoe.
parcel is a
horseshoe
horseshoe
shape. Horseshoe
shape,
shape.
actually, yeah, and so
This
I
map
can
doesn't.
screen share if that would be
Perfect.
helpful, yeah. But the parcel is quite oddly shaped, but the zoning, I do have a section, I believe I included it in the report, if not, apologies, about split zoning. There's a pertinent section in the zoning ordinance.
Oh, here's an image on the back.
There was an image with the email that we received.
So
Yeah.
whereabout is the zone line in that red blob?
So it is, This blue line here, the lower blue line is industrial commercial development, and this sort of seafoam green is agricultural.
Okay, thank you.
Both zones allow for educational uses as special exceptions.
Thank you.
Others?
I was just gonna ask, your school, it draws from other surrounding towns, not just Plymouth residents, is that correct?
Yes.
And what percent of your students are from Plymouth?
I couldn't speak to that right offhand. I don't know. I would say maybe we have 10 students from Plymouth, but that would be off the cuff.
Most are not.
Yes, I mean, but that doesn't mean they're not from Rumney or surrounding
Correct,
areas, right?
right, yeah.
We're building in Plymouth with zoning because that's where the land was available. If it was half a mile north with no zoning, and that was the perfect piece of land, and it was affordable, probably would have chose there, but
Yeah,
it's perfect for us, so that's why we're
Is this
chasing
like
it.
K through 12?
No, 1st through 8
Eighth grade.
Okay.
at this time. There's no educating at the charter school level for high school. It's
And it's your
encompasses quite a
representation, sir, that the driveway cut has been approved by the state?
It has been. I don't know if it's lapsed at this point because of we haven't started construction, but we did have it approved through DOT. Back when we had this all approved the first time. I know that our engineering company is
Look at that.
reviewing that.
Yeah, okay. All right, I'm going to close the presentation. There are no members of the public. Is there anybody online? Do we know?
I do not see anyone present on Zoom or online.
Okay. There being no members of the public present, I'm going to close the public session, and we'll go into the deliberative session. And in doing so, I think we should try to put together the facts as we see them here. We've all seen what was proposed. Yeah, okay. Got one?
Sure. First finding would be that albeit significantly adjusted, the initial plan has been previously approved for both initial special exception as well as an extension, both in 2019 and 2021.
Good one.
The
Tom?
the lots of adequate size and then a area that's zoned for that.
Good one? Yeah.
that it's allowable under the special exception?
Use is allowed by special exception?
Yep.
For both districts that it's split between.
Right, it's in two different districts. That would be a good one, too.
Yeah,
The abutter is a school too, right?
Little Antlers.
Or a daycare,
Daycare more, unless I'm
in the
mistaken.
childhood industry.
It is a daycare.
Yeah.
A nonprofit, though.
It appears on the site plan provided, C201, the entire land disturbance or proposed land disturbance for this use is located within the industrial and commercial development district, not within agricultural. So although the parcel is in two zones, the development appears to entirely reside within the industrial and commercial development zone.
Is that accurate?
Yes,
It is.
I would agree.
I think it is.
Good.
Well, this application's been submitted before and approved, but it expired.
We should also say that this is an existing business. How many years is it now, sir?
10.
I think we're going on 8.
8 years?
Yeah.
Okay. And the business is a short the current school is a short distance away, still on Route 25.
I would like to add, although it requires a special exception, it appears the use is harmonious with the neighborhood, with the community, with its location.
Right. And surrounding buildings.
Correct.
And that the DOT approved a driveway? Was that current or was that an old?
In what ways?
The DOT approved a driveway?
No, the planning board does the driveway. The cut,
Planning board.
Yeah.
the cut is the state. The physical driveway is the town.
Okay.
Of course, when we come to conditions, I think a reasonable condition would be that the DOT approves the driveway cut.
Absolutely.
We could simplify that and say site plan approval, because that'll be a condition of site plan approval as well.
Oh, okay, don't have to do it twice then.
Right, right.
We got all the facts we think we need. Looking at the previous findings of fact.
Just maybe one more, David, on that they're planning to connect to the sewer at this current time, to the town sewer, so they will be using some town services. But there doesn't seem to be any additional beyond that, any more than that is already existing with fire and police, right, or road maintenance or things like that.
All right. Folks satisfied with the facts?
And just maybe one more around that they don't expect to need sidewalks to that location because they don't have any walkers, right? So that really, it does seem, their use does seem to be consistent with that area.
All right. Let's go through after this discussion, let's go through the criteria for a special exception. First is proposed use of the ordinance is by special exception.
It is.
It's true. True.
True.
True. Okay. Explain how the specific site is appropriate location and adequate size for the use. Anybody have any comments on that?
I think it's true.
I do
It's a
too.
big site.
Especially because they're an outdoor school. It seems like they have a large enough campus for their
It's a
needs.
large piece of land,
Large piece of land, yeah.
okay? Do we all believe that the site is appropriate location?
True.
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 Unanimous? Explain how the use as developed will not adversely affect the character or area of the proposed use is located.
True.
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 I think it will. I think that's true.
I think it's potentially true. Well, we've heard from the applicant that they're basically gonna they're gonna, I think he said, reverse engineer the building based on the budget they have.
I think that's true.
That's a reasonable paraphrase of what he said.
Okay.
So, but I also believe that also will be handled by the planning board.
Okay.
Agreed.
So I think the planning board will ensure that it is a suitable
Compatible.
match and compatible with the neighborhood.
Excellent.
So in that light, true.
Unanimous? Thank you.
Agreed.
Explain how the use will be no nuisance or serious hazard to pedestrians or vehicles.
Yeah,
Hope they don't
my
use
only
it.
concern is
Finding that there are no sidewalks
no
there.
sidewalks, but there's no walkers as well.
And if the state gives a cut, they have examined the sight lines and the like.
Yeah,
All in favor of number 4?
true.
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 That's unanimous. Explain how the use will not place an excessive undue burden on the town or the town services and facilities.
I mean, I think that they are gonna use sewer, but it seems like that they're working with the sewer department, and the sewer department, if they say no, they have an alternative, right? They could develop their own septic on their
They won't get
property.
planning approval until they have either sewer
Yes.
system or connect to the sewer.
Right,
So,
Well, they have enough land to go either way, actually.
and they're not gonna use any more of a burden, they're not gonna they're not gonna be any more of a burden on fire and police and the roads, highway department than they already are, right?
Question I have to ask you, sir, are the buildings gonna be sprinkled?
They will not.
They will not.
Be sprinkled.
That's
They
their,
broke it into different buildings.
That's why it's 3, so that
that's
they
why
don't
they
have.
split it into 3 buildings. However, just knowing the Ninth State facility and looking at the plans for the driveway, if all were there, I think it's an improvement upon the impact for the fire department getting in and out of there. So, that's
So,
all
in terms of
speculative.
town services, how do you people feel about that?
True.
I think Nick's got an issue. What would you like to raise?
No issue, just, again, it's going to be based upon the impact of the sewer treatment plant, which is sometimes stressed currently, but that is for them to figure out at that time.
I can add if you want. So we have discussed with Jason the capacity at that location, and there's plenty of capacity as far as the stress on the system.
The question is whether the town has capacity, not,
It's true.
all right. You look at that as the planning board?
It is another one of the conditions that they have an approval from Plymouth Village Water and Sewer.
Yeah.
And Plymouth Village Water and Sewer should, in their application process, it's been a while since I've applied there, but they should have an engineer's report which will investigate, the capacity of the treatment, also the infrastructure they're tying in, et cetera, et cetera. So
Yeah.
it should be reviewed from an engineering standpoint,
So one way or another, okay?
one way or another, yep.
All in favor of it not violating town services?
True.
True.
True?
True.
Unanimous? The last criteria. Explain there will be no significant effect on the resulting from such use upon the public health, safety, and general welfare in the neighborhood, which would be located as the school.
The only thing I can think of in this particular criteria is there are no butters here present, no one's written in, no one's online. So if there were any public concerns, for example, noise, it's gonna be a school, gonna be kids yelling, screaming, running all over. Lights, now, it's a, well, for lack of better terms, it's a 9-to-5 business, so there shouldn't be any glare at night, but for me, it's a true because no one's said a thing, and there's going to be probably more nuisance just from the highway itself.
Oh, yeah.
So I think it's a true.
I think it's true.
I think it's true. I think it's a good-looking
True.
plan.
Unanimous again. All right, having gone through the criteria, I'd like to have us vote on whether the special exception should be granted or not.
I'll make a motion, we approve the special exception with, you wanted a couple of conditions there, you wanted site plan review, and you really, the curb cut has to be done no matter what, But site plan, you want site plan review, and what else did you want?
The town they have to go through site plan review,
Correct. They are currently
They have
within
to
site
get
plan review.
approval for the curb cut, and they have to get approval by the water sewer department.
Which is all encompassing. So I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Joseph, that the applicant has an accepted application, and their application has been continued pending engineering review. So there'll be there will be engineering review comments. I can't testify to the quantity, they just know there will be comments. And those comments will be completeness and compliance with the regulations. Part of that will be DOT, part of that will be septic, water, all of the above.
So you mean, actually, we just need that it's
Doesn't need
approved
a
by site
condition.
plan?
Right.
Yeah.
I think
All
that
will be
should,
taken care of by the planning board.
Yeah.
that's correct.
That's fundamentally what he said.
Yeah.
We
So we
should-
don't really need a condition,
We don't have to do their work.
right?
Okay. All in favor of approving the application as submitted?
Aye.
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 It's unanimous. The application is approved.
Good luck, sir.
We'll come back again.
I really hope not. It'll
Third
probably
time's
be
a
someone
charm. I
else.
hope this one works out.
Thank you,
Good
guys.
luck with the planning board. Okay. Unfinished business. Do we have any, Joseph?
Not particularly unfinished, but I suppose it could be considered that. So we kind of spoke about it a little bit earlier, actually. So the current membership of the board is 4 members and 1 alternate. We do have a total of 5 member slots and 5 alternate slots available. So we also have Stephanie Halter and Peter Julia with terms that are ending in April of 2024, 3-year terms, which of course are eligible for multiple 3-year terms. So that would be, just trying to get this in case we don't meet again as closer to March. Those terms would be renewed by the select board. So I would be happy to share letters if anyone wanted to request reappointment to the board for another term.
Is there term limits?
No, there are no term limits.
Any chance you could become a regular? No.
And, Scott Whedon, I did, he did suggest, we could put a description of the duties of the board in the town newsletter and sort of a call, see if anybody would like to volunteer as a new member or alternate. I wanted to discuss that with the board and see if anybody has comments or thoughts on that. But that newsletter does go out to, last I heard, over 500 residents.
Yes, and on your website.
And on the website.
I think that, the municipal really has to try something different than just a 2x2 ad in the Record Enterprise. I mean, that's a nice thing, but it only gets to like 25-30% of the population. And,
Yeah, I think we need a call. We gotta develop 2 or 3 other people.
yeah.
And I don't wanna send Joseph out with a sandwich sign walking up and down the street. Okay, that's a big one. That's important.
Yeah, and, if similarly, they would be subject to the same process, any new members requesting appointment from the select board. Terms begin in April officially, so they could be, appointed in April or even sooner potentially.
Are you likely to re-up?
Probably. I don't think this is
Not too burdensome.
it's not too burdensome.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yeah, is that what you said?
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yes.
It takes
Affirmative.
the right application.
Let's,
Make a change.
Let's not lose sight of the ball and try to get some more members. I think that's a good one to go at. Any other unfinished, perhaps, business?
No other unfinished business on my end.
Yeah, I will say that I did participate in some of the housing study members as an individual, not as a member of the ZBA, talking about my view of some of the things they were attempting to do. And I think they took to heart. They wanted to do away with a bunch of special exceptions, and my view on that to the board was, it gives the neighbors a chance to enter in the discussion about when something's gonna happen, rather than just a de facto approval because somebody submits an application to do something. And I think the board was sensitive to that.
Well, the new law is going to allow up to 6 units without notifying the neighbors.
That's
You'd
one,
be able to do it with just a permit.
that depends where.
Huh?
Depends where you are and what zone you are.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's
Not in
right,
the
I did catch
residential.
that.
Right, not in residential, right?
The single-family residential is gonna be protected, it'll have
Be
2,
protected.
because you've gotta have the auxiliary housing. But that, they've corrected that, because it was gonna wind up with 6 units in the single-family zone, which is sort of why I call it the single-family zone.
Exactly.
Any other issues? I just thought I'd tell the.
So,
board
but they
that.
actually get ADUs, right? So every unit could convert to duplex.
Single-family house in a single-family zone could have an ADU added to it, so that it wind up as a duplex, or a 2-family, or whatever you wanna
Yeah.
call it. That's statewide.
I understand.
And if the town doesn't react, it would go to 6 everywhere.
Right.
So that's why they're moving on that. Any progress on that stuff?
Yes, so there, actually, the next hearing on that is this Thursday, if any Of course, those are open to the public. The zoning amendments, the full text of those amendments on the town's website, which is now plymouthnh.gov. It's no longer the .org domain. That should still redirect you, but just as a heads up that the website has changed to plymouthnh.gov. But the full text of those amendments is up there. Also in Town Hall, if anybody wants to look through, we have them hard copy available as well.
How was the attendance at the meeting, Joseph?
At the first one, it was not, I would say, a huge attendance, maybe a half dozen, not more than 10 people probably.
Yeah.
But there have been, as a result of some of the particular changes that were put forward, state statute does require mailed notice to certain residents of certain zoning districts. So folks in multifamily residential, highway commercial, civic, and the potential Fairgrounds Road overlay district should have gotten a first-class mail letter as well, notifying them of the
They
hearing.
did, that was good. And are these gonna show up as separate warrant articles?
Yes,
So that they don't have to all win. If they don't all win, it doesn't kill the rest of them.
correct. There are a total of 8 that are being considered by the board, and yeah, each one, the board, if the board were to decide to, I suppose after the hearing, the board could choose to send all 8 to town meeting. They could choose not to send all 8, but if they did send them, they
These
would.
go forward as ballot initiatives. do they?
Correct,
Right.
correct.
So we vote on the ballot, not
Yep.
at town meeting.
Yeah, but they could go individually, and be voted on separately.
Well, thank you. Any other business?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, aye. Meeting adjourned.
Very good.